Let's continue our study of the native buckeye trees to the Ohio Valley, Lower Great Lakes, and Appalachian regions. What I have in my sights today is a sapling of an Ohio buckeye tree. And the yellow buckeye and the Ohio buckeye, their ranges do overlap, but mostly the yellow buckeye is south of the Ohio River and in the Appalachians, the central and southern Appalachians, and it's locally common in the stream valleys and moister slopes and in the cove forests of the Great Smoky Mountains. And the Ohio buckeye is more of a lowland species that we find west of where the yellow buckeye grows, but they do overlap in places. The park I'm in today does not have yellow buckeye, but has plenty of Ohio buckeye for us to study. This is the Fort Ancient State Memorial in Warren County, Ohio, where I've made many of my videos. 40 miles south of here we can find yellow buckeye along the valley of the Ohio River itself. Within a few miles of the river, it's fairly common in the moister soils. But let's concentrate on Ohio buckeye today. Just like the yellow buckeye, it's out early, it's an early riser. This is late March and it's got some small leaves starting to unfurl here. And you can see that this one particular leaf here has 5, and they all do. Occasionally they have 7 leaflets, but usually it's 5 leaflets. And I will do a video of how they look when they're completely open in a few weeks here. But right now they're getting an early start. They're catching sunlight that's coming through before the other trees leaf out, like these sycamore trees. And this is in a bottomland location that can often be found in moister soils along these streams and rivers. And this is the rain-swollen Little Miami River here in Warren County, Ohio. And we've got several Ohio buckeye trees growing right along the banks here, but they also grow up the hill a little ways where the soil remains moist and is not too rocky or thin. Got a beautiful red bud here on this one. As you can see, the bark is more of an ash gray color than the yellow buckeye. I'm going to pause for just a moment and get to some larger examples. And here's a medium-sized buckeye tree. They rarely get more than a foot in diameter. This one's about 6 inches. Still has a fairly smooth bark. It's more leathery in texture than the yellow buckeye. It almost feels like leather. And normally it's a lighter ash gray color than the yellow buckeye. The yellow buckeye is more the color of a sugar maple, and this is more the color of maybe a chinkapin oak or a white oak. There's an even larger one right over here. And sometimes we get some platy appearance just like the yellow buckeye, but the plates are not as pronounced and they're not as crisp. They're almost like soggy potato chips on an Ohio buckeye tree, and the plates on a yellow buckeye tree are more like crisp potato chips that didn't get soggy. We'll stop for a minute, we'll look at more of that. And here's an even larger Ohio buckeye tree that does have some plates starting to develop. But all I can say is that they definitely look different if you get around both these species of trees. The Ohio buckeye just doesn't have that crisp plates and chunks, and they're less likely to be polygons. They're more just little flakes than the yellow buckeye. The yellow buckeye has a very distinct bark. If you spend time around it, you'll get to know it. It's definitely a few shades darker and tanner than this Ohio buckeye tree, which is more of a light color. When it gets wet, it can resemble the yellow buckeye, but when it's dry, the two are very obviously different. So this is our Ohio buckeye with early spring appearance. And this one here has gotten about 40-50 feet high, but it's eclipsed by this huge sycamore tree here. So again, it's catching the light that the other trees don't in early spring. It gets its leaves before the other trees, but it often loses them early too. They become discolored and brown and rusty colored by early August sometimes. And often by Labor Day, most of the leaves are actually on the ground.